Good afternoon, this is Dan Howe, PTI Securities and Futures, coming to you in a daily wrap-up for Friday, December 16th. Overnight, we had a relatively narrow range in the S&P, only 12 points, about half what we've been having for the most part of the last month or so. CPI came out this morning, was a little bit worse than expected, but the CPI core was a little bit, the CPI was a little better than expected, the CPI core was a little bit worse than expected. Really not much activity at all on that information, so the market opened up and has been trading up all night in the S&Ps, and it opened up, and that was pretty much our high of the day. So we started off higher and sold off most of the gains of the day for the past 3 days. We kept that up. The S&P closed up 4 at the end of the day at 12.19. The Dow closed down 7 at 11.861. The NASDAQ was the strongest index. It's closed at 225.55, up 14. And that's despite the fact that some of the high-tech people, noticeably IBM, actually had a bad day today. However, as good as the stocks were, at least on the opening, the bonds never fell for it. The bonds were up, they were down overnight, but they were up after the CPI numbers, and they stayed up. So the 10-year note closed at a yield of 1.85, down another 5 basis points. That is the lowest it's been since the first week in October, when things were looking pretty shady. So the bonds are thinking that there really is something going on here. Certainly, the interest rates across the pond were kind of indicating there's still a little bit of nervousness, because the German 2-year note had the lowest recorded yield ever since they were in the euro. So realistically, the bond market is a lot more nervous than the stock market. Seeing that in the VIX also. The VIX, the 30-day the actual index is dropping like a stone, down to around 25. However, the out months are basically staying pretty much at where they were last week. So realistically, what we're seeing here is increased nervousness in the bond market and in the out months in the stocks, but in the VIX is saying it's not happening anytime soon, at least the near-term VIX. The dollar closed down a little bit today, gave up a little bit of its recent gains, but not a lot, closed at 80.18. Gold rebounded though, up 21, close to 15.98. Really early next week, not much is going on. We do have a full calendar later in the week, on Thursday and Friday, with the GDP, durable goods, personal income, personal spending, as well as the leading indicators. So we're not going to get much of the fundamental news in the first couple days of next week, which has been the reason we've been going up here in the stock market. Any news out of Europe will probably be bad, because there's nothing scheduled. So realistically, we're hoping for no news out of Europe, and maybe we can just have the normal Christmas rally. It's been Dan Howe, PTI Securities and Futures.